Hello everyone, welcome to your channel, Naija Media Connect, where we bring you stories that connect Nigeria to the world. Before we begin, kindly subscribe, like this video and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Today, we're talking about Flavour's powerful return to his Enugu hood. In a heartwarming outreach visit, Highlife icon Flavour reconnects with his roots in Enugu, Nigeria. From warm embraces with community members to cultural moments filled with music and gratitude, the visit reflects love, identity, and giving back. The highlight? Special scenes of Flavour sharing moments with fellow man of power, Odumeje, blending faith, influence, and community impact. Stay tuned to watch the full story unfold.
About
that's fact. You have already put the word down. When you talk about peace, that means you have already concluded defeated. A man of power, a man of spirituality is always a man of war.
So there's nothing about peace in you.
No. When you talk about that, is I live the life of my father. They say, I am a Jehovah man of war. I'm a mighty man in battle. I can kill it and I can make it alive. Yes. I have said this time with a number to you. Once alive, desire more to actualize. Battles continues.
But you give joy.
Yeah. That is why I said it as I'm a coat of many colors. Understand the move.
A coat of many colors.
That's what I said.
Okay, so you are a joy giver.
And at the same time, a silent killer.
In a heartwarming outreach visit, Highlife icon Flavour reconnects with his roots in Enugu, Nigeria. From warm embraces with community members to cultural moments filled with music and gratitude, the visit reflects love, identity, and giving back. But beyond the smiles, beyond the songs, and beyond the camera flashes, this was a homecoming with depth, a return shaped by memory, responsibility, and legacy. On the narrow streets where dreams once felt distant, Flavour, born Chinedu Okoli, arrived not as a distant celebrity, but as a son of the soil. His presence stirred emotions, pride in the elders, excitement in the youth, and hope in families who saw their own stories reflected in his journey. This was not a staged appearance, it was a reconnection, and Enugu felt it. Enugu is more than a city, it is a cradle of resilience, culture, and sound. For Flavour, these streets were his first classroom. They taught him rhythm before record labels. They taught him survival before success. As he walked through familiar paths, greeting market women, artisans, and childhood acquaintances, the energy shifted. These were not fans reaching for fame, these were people reaching for one of their own. Every handshake carried history, every smile echoed pride. Residents spoke of a young boy who once played music with borrowed instruments, now returning with a heart full of gratitude. This was not nostalgia, this was acknowledgement. The outreach unfolded quietly but powerfully. Food items distributed, financial support extended, private conversations held away from cameras. Flavour took time, real time, to listen. Elderly men spoke of hardship, single mothers shared stories of perseverance, young creatives spoke of dreams waiting for a chance. This was love without noise, giving without performance. And in those moments, the artist became a bridge, connecting success with service, fame with responsibility. Then came the music, not a concert, not a performance, but a cultural expression. Traditional dancers gathered, drums rolled, the Highlife rhythm, rich, ancestral, unmistakably Igbo, filled the air. Flavour joined in, singing not to an audience, but with a community. This was culture alive, not preserved, but practiced. In a time when global sounds dominate airwaves, this moment reaffirmed something essential. Culture does not fade when carried with pride. The response was overwhelming. Community leaders described Flavour's visit as a blessing. Youth groups called it inspiration. Local traders called it hope. For many, it wasn't about the gifts, it was about visibility. To be remembered, to be valued, to be seen. And in that exchange, something rare happened. A celebrity did not overshadow the people. The people became the story. Then came a moment that ignited conversation across social media and beyond. Special scenes emerged of Flavour sharing time with controversial yet influential spiritual leader, Odumeje, widely known as the Lion himself. Two figures, two realms, one community. Their meeting was symbolic, blending faith, influence, culture, and public curiosity. For supporters, it was unity. For critics, it was debate. But for the community watching, it was relevance. Odumeje is not just a religious figure. He is a social phenomenon, revered by followers, questioned by skeptics, yet undeniably impactful. By sharing moments with him, Flavour tapped into a deeper narrative, the intersection of belief systems, cultural authority, and public influence in modern Nigeria. This was not endorsement, it was engagement, a reflection of Nigeria's complex spiritual and social landscape. Music and faith have always shared a bond in African society. Songs heal, faith restores, community unites. In these moments between Flavour and Odumeje, what stood out was not doctrine, but dialogue, a shared understanding that influence carries weight, and weight must serve purpose.
Young people watched closely, not just the cars, not just the clothes, but the humility. They saw success return home. They saw fame bow to origin. They saw influence used, not wasted. And in that image, many found permission to dream again. This visit matters because it counters a growing disconnect between success and society. It reminds us that impact begins at home. In a nation hungry for authentic role models, moments like this redefine leadership, not through speeches, but through presence. Flavour's outreach raises important questions. What is the role of public figures in community development? How can influence drive cultural preservation? Can fame be a force for healing? This visit answers quietly, yes. As the sun set over Enugu, Flavour's visit came to an end, but its impact lingered. In smiles, in stories, in renewed belief. This was more than a homecoming. It was a reminder that no matter how far one travels, roots remain, and when honored, they nourish generations. From Enugu, Nigeria, this is Naija Media Connect, connecting stories, connecting people, connecting purpose. Away from the cheering crowd and flashing cameras, some of the most powerful moments of Flavour's visit unfolded quietly. Inside modest homes and shaded corners of the neighborhood, conversations happened that were never meant to trend online, but mattered deeply to those present. Flavour listened more than he spoke. An elderly man spoke about a generation that built Enugu with bare hands. A woman shared how music became her comfort during hard years. A young boy asked a simple question: how did you make it? There were no rehearsed answers, just honesty. These moments revealed a different side of celebrity outreach, one rooted not in spectacle, but in sincerity. This was not a public relations exercise, it was personal. The appearance of Odumeje added another layer to the visit, one that sparked discussion far beyond Enugu. Known for his bold persona and unorthodox approach to faith, Odumeje represents a form of influence that resonates deeply with a section of Nigerian society, especially among the grassroots. When Flavour and Odumeje shared space, it became more than a casual encounter. It symbolized a meeting of two powerful forces: cultural influence and spiritual authority. They did not preach. They did not perform miracles. They stood. And sometimes, presence alone carries meaning. To some, it was unity. To others, controversy. But to the community watching, it was relevance, a reminder that leadership wears many faces in Nigeria. As the visit drew to a close, one thing became clear. Flavour did not come to Enugu to be celebrated. He came to remember. He came to reconnect with the streets that shaped his sound, the people who shaped his values, and the culture that continues to define his identity. In a time when success often creates distance, this visit shortened it. It reminded young Nigerians that greatness does not erase origins, it deepens responsibility. From music to outreach, from culture to community, this was a story of return, not just to a place, but to purpose. And as night fell over Enugu, the echoes of laughter, music, and gratitude lingered, long after the convoy moved on. For Naija Media Connect, this wasn't just a story about Flavour. It was a story about home, about impact, about what it truly means to give back.
Long after Flavour left Enugu, the story refused to stay local. Short video clips began circulating across social media platforms, WhatsApp groups, Instagram Reels, TikTok timelines, and X feeds lit up with reactions from across Nigeria and the diaspora. Some focused on the emotional outreach, others highlighted the cultural moments. Many zeroed in on the appearance of Odumeje. Within hours, the visit transformed from a community event into a national conversation. Supporters praised Flavour for remembering his roots. Critics questioned certain associations. Observers analyzed the symbolism. But in the noise of online debate, one truth remained clear. The visit struck a nerve. It forced a conversation about influence, responsibility, and the evolving role of celebrities in shaping social values. In today's Nigeria, relevance is not just measured by charts, it is measured by impact. At its core, Flavour's return to Enugu reveals something deeper about Nigerian society. It exposes a longing, a desire to see success come home, to see wealth touch lives, to see influence used with intention. It also reflects Nigeria's complexity, where culture, faith, entertainment, and public opinion constantly intersect. This was not a perfect moment, but it was an honest one, and honesty resonates.
Impossible.
How are you doing?
Good. Are you in Nigeria?
No, I'm from Congo, DR Congo.
Oh my God.
Yes, but I've been following you.
To Papa?
Yes.
To Papa.
A story of roots, respect, and responsibility. Like, share, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments.